And welcome back to Broader Financial Future. In today's video, we're going to talk about SWPPX. But first, the most important thing is to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Now let's jump into today's video. All right, folks. First, what is SWPPX? XWPPX is Charles Schwab Index Fund, Schwab S&P 500 Index Fund. So basically, the fund seeks to track the total return of the S&P 500 index. Basically, 500 of the top U.S. companies in a nutshell. You're getting like a basket of different companies, but really the top brands. That's what you're getting with this index fund. This is one of my favorites in all forms, the gold standard. You just have to follow the wave of basically the top 500 companies up and down without doing much research. You just sit it and forget it. But obviously, there are ups and downs. So sometimes the stock will do, or this particular index fund will do well. Sometimes it won't. So that's something to be aware of. There's nothing 100% when it comes to investing, at least not in my opinion. For me, I feel like it's a good way to start investing without doing all the work of picking individual stocks. So we're going to talk about a couple of key things here. SWPPX started in 1997, so it's been around, so there's some history here. The life of the fund, you have about 8% returns. The expense ratio is 0.02%. That's basically the fee that you pay to own this particular index fund. Now, the funny thing is, I was looking at one of my older videos with SWPPX. The total returns from life of inception actually went down slightly, but that's probably because 2022 was a rough year for SWPPX, which I will get into more when we look at the performance. But let's talk about who is this for, right? Like I was saying earlier, I would say this is for seasoned investors, new investors, newbies. For me, it's a great way to get in the market without doing all the individual research for individual stocks. I do individual stocks as well, but for me, I like to have a larger portion of my money in index funds and ETFs, and basically SWPPX. It does fit into my overall goal, but also not only SPW S too many words, but not only SWPBX, but other index funds like FXAIX, which is essentially the same thing. Overall, this particular holding has about 505 companies attached to it, a little bit more than the 500, and it has about $60 billion under management, which is a lot of money. So, what are you getting with that, right? So, let's look at the top 10 companies. They account for about 25% of this portfolio. So basically, instead of picking Apple by itself or Microsoft by itself or Amazon by itself, which you can do as well, right? Because I do own Amazon, Microsoft, and Amazon as well as individual stocks. But here, when you get into this particular index fund, you're getting it all at once, right? You're getting it all together, like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, Google, United Health, Google, Johnson & Johnson, and more. But do keep in mind, these holdings do change over time, so they're not static. So the top 10, they do kind of fluctuate over time. Like last time I looked at the video, Nvidia and Tesla was in the top 10. This time, Exxon Mobil and JP Morgan jumped in the top 10 holdings. So you do see some slight fluctuations when it comes to the top 10 holdings. So that's something to be aware of as well. But overall, this fund basically it follows the index and it just basically runs on its own. You don't have to do the thinking of how you allocate your money. And basically, let's look at the performance, right? So looking at the performance for the year is down about 8%. 3 years is up about 8%. 5 years is up about 9%, and so forth, right? So it does have its ups and down swings. So if you got in at the beginning of last year or sometime last year, you're probably down on your money. But overall, if you hold long enough, you should be up. Um, there's no guarantees that things could change, but as history showed us, it's a pretty good chance it should go up over time. And we're talking about years, like not 1 year, not 2 years. We're talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, even 20 years from now. Um, just a disclaimer, I do own SWPPX. You can only get it on Charles Schwab, so you have to have a Charles Schwab brokerage account to buy it. But there's plenty of alternatives like FXAIX, which is Fidelity equivalent of SWPPX. Or you can find ETFs that follow the S&P 500 index as well. Just make sure you pay attention to the expense ratio. um, I personally own both SWPPX and FXAIX, so I'm a little biased when it comes to those particular index funds that follow the S&P 500. But overall, thank you for watching this video. It's been a great time. Um, I decided to do this video because I noticed when it comes to my 2023 strategy, I do not have this particular one in there. And the reason why is because I'm adding it into my Roth IRA as in FXAIX, but I still hold SWPPX in my Schwab account. And I'll probably add some from time to time, but or just hold or maintain the portions I have already. But that's pretty much it. Until next time, peace.